Mary and Jack were a young couple living in a peaceful small town on the outskirts of the city. They had been married for 5 years, and their life seemed perfect. Jack was a successful salesman, and Mary was a passionate elementary school teacher. They owned a cozy little house with a garden full of flowers and had 2 cats as companions. To Mary, Jack was a devoted husband who always cared for her and knew how to make her feel loved. He would take her out for dinner on special anniversaries or plan outings whenever they had free time. They often cooked together on weekends and ran around the garden with their mischievous cats. For Mary, it was the happy life she had always dreamed of. One day, Jack came home with an excited and thrilled look on his face. He walked into the house, hugged Mary tightly, and exclaimed, "Mary, I've been promoted. I'm now the deputy sales director of the company." Mary jumped up with joy and hugged Jack, feeling incredibly proud of him. Jack explained that the promotion opened many new opportunities for him, but also required more responsibilities and time to meet the company's expectations. Mary understood this and was ready to support her husband, even though she knew it might mean they would have less time together. Since his promotion, Jack had become increasingly busy. He often left for work early in the morning and returned late at night. At times, he would hastily leave on business trips without any prior notice. Mary began to sense a cold distance growing between them. She tried to understand Jack's mood, but he usually responded dismissively, blaming it on work pressure. Jack became more distant, rarely talking to Mary and seemingly ignoring the little details of their family life. Mary felt as though a part of Jack was slipping away from her, but she continued to search for ways to understand and support him. Mary increasingly felt like she was living alone. Every evening, Jack would walk through the door exhausted, greet her briefly, and head straight to their room. Mary sat alone at the dinner table in a quiet, dim atmosphere. She missed the days when they cooked together and shared the small joys of life. Doubt began to creep into Mary's mind as Jack's behavior became increasingly strange. She noticed late-night phone calls that Jack would answer in a hurry, often leaving the room to talk in private. His once warm and attentive gaze had turned cold and distant, making Mary suspect that something was amiss. One evening, while Jack was in the shower, his phone buzzed with a message. Mary glanced at the screen and saw the text, "My love, I can't wait to see you tomorrow, Linda." Her heart stopped, and a wave of shock and disbelief washed over her. Who is Linda? Mary wondered, her mind racing. Why is she calling Jack my love? It felt as though a dagger had pierced her heart, leaving her frozen in place, overwhelmed by a mix of pain and betrayal. Mary couldn't ignore the doubts that were gnawing at her mind. She decided she needed to uncover the truth. Regaining her composure, she pretended not to suspect anything so Jack wouldn't become suspicious. Quietly, she began to track his schedule whenever he claimed to be working late or going on a business trip. One evening, Jack told Mary that he had to work overtime and would be home late. Determined, Mary decided to follow him. She drove her car at a safe distance behind Jack's, careful not to be noticed. Instead of heading to his office, Jack turned down another road, one that led to a high-end restaurant in the city. Mary's heart sank as she saw Jack park his car in the restaurant's lot. Sitting in her car, Mary watched as Jack entered the restaurant. She saw a woman standing by the entrance, waiting for him. They embraced, exchanged affectionate smiles, and walked into the restaurant together. Mary recognized the woman. It was Linda, Jack's boss. Her head spun, and she felt a wave of nausea. But she knew without a doubt now, Jack was betraying her. Leaving the restaurant, Mary felt as though her heart had been torn apart. She didn't know what to do next. But one thing was clear, her once happy life had been shattered, and it would never be the same again. Mary returned home overwhelmed with pain and confusion. She sat in her familiar armchair, staring blankly into space. The images of Jack and Linda together replayed in her mind like a horror movie. Tears streamed down her face, but Mary knew that crying wouldn't solve anything. She needed to confront the truth and figure out how to protect herself. The next morning, Mary resolved to talk to Jack. When he came home after a long day, she was already seated at the dining table, her eyes firm and resolute. Jack looked surprised to see her so serious. Mary began in a calm but clear voice. "Jack, I know everything. I saw you with Linda last night." Jack froze, his face turning pale. He tried to deny it, but Mary's unwavering gaze said it all. She was no longer the naive wife who trusted his every word. Realizing there was no point in lying, Jack hung his head, sighed, and admitted the truth. He explained how his relationship with Linda had started. It began with late-night work sessions, conversations about the pressures of their jobs. And over time, they grew closer. Mary listened, but her heart no longer held love or understanding. Instead, it was filled with utter disappointment and profound hurt. She couldn't believe that the man she had loved and trusted for the past 5 years could betray her like this. Jack tried to explain further, claiming he had been drawn into the relationship with Linda because of her power in the company and her ability to influence his career. After hearing Jack's confession, Mary felt as if her entire world had collapsed. She no longer recognized the man she once called her husband. Jack's excuses only deepened her pain. That night, Mary stayed in the bedroom, unable to sleep. Memories of their happy moments and Jack's promises flooded her mind. Now rendered meaningless, Mary fell into a state of depression. She couldn't focus on anything: her teaching job, daily routines, or even her interactions with others. Her young students asked why she no longer smiled like she used to, and Mary could only muster a faint, hollow smile, unable to find the words to explain. She felt lost, like a boat adrift in an endless, shoreless ocean. But Mary knew she couldn't go on like this forever. She needed to find a way out and stand up for herself. Despite the lingering love she still felt for Jack, his betrayal had transformed that love into a source of unbearable pain. After many sleepless nights, Mary decided she could no longer live in this state of pain and despair. She needed to free herself. One morning, as Jack was getting ready for work, Mary told him that she wanted a separation. Jack looked at her in shock, trying to persuade her that he would change, that he would end everything with Linda. But Mary had made up her mind. She looked Jack in the eye and said, "You've hurt me, Jack. I can't live with this pain every day. I need time to think and to find myself again." Jack was speechless, realizing that Mary meant every word. She was no longer the fragile wife he could easily convince to forgive him. Mary began preparing for her new life. She reached out to a lawyer to learn about the divorce process and started looking for a small apartment to move into. She also confided in her friends, who offered her unwavering support. Although it was heartbreaking, Mary felt a sense of relief after making her decision. She knew she needed to be strong to get through this difficult time. And for the first time in a while, she felt a glimmer of hope for her future. Jack began to feel deep regret as he watched Mary slowly distance herself and prepare for her own life. He realized he had lost the most precious thing in his world. Coming home to an empty, cold house without Mary's laughter and presence left Jack feeling profoundly lonely and hollow. Determined to make amends, Jack took steps to right his wrongs. He ended his relationship with Linda, even though doing so brought significant challenges at work. Linda refused to accept Jack's decision and threatened to ruin his career if he left her. But Jack no longer cared. He knew he had made a grave mistake and wanted to fix it. Jack went to see Mary and knelt before her, pleading for another chance. He promised to change and do whatever it took to bring happiness back to her life. Just like before, Mary looked at Jack, seeing the remorse in his eyes, but also feeling her own pain. She wasn't sure if she could forgive him, but she knew he was truly regretful. Mary decided to give Jack a chance, but with conditions. They would live separately for a while and attend marriage counseling sessions together. She wanted to be sure that Jack had genuinely changed and that she could trust him again. Jack agreed. Understanding this was his last opportunity to save their marriage. For both of them, this was the beginning of a long journey of healing, self-reflection, and rebuilding the trust they had lost. Linda didn't take Jack's decision to leave her and return to Mary lightly. Furious, she decided to use her power to pressure Jack. She started spreading malicious rumors about him at work, causing his colleagues to doubt and distance themselves from him. Linda even threatened to ensure Jack could never find another job if he dared betray her. Jack felt cornered. The mounting pressure from Linda made it nearly impossible for him to focus on his work. He feared that her threats could jeopardize his ability to make a living, pushing him to the brink of despair. Despite this, Jack remained resolute in his decision not to let Linda destroy his life again. He knew he had hurt Mary deeply and was determined to make things right. Mary, although she had decided to give Jack another chance, couldn't ignore Linda's actions. She noticed how increasingly stressed and exhausted Jack was, and her concern for him grew. Mary decided it was time to stand up for Jack. She reached out to a skilled attorney to explore legal options to counter Linda's threats and harassment. Mary understood that if she and Jack wanted to rebuild their relationship, they needed to be strong and face all the challenges together. With renewed determination, she and Jack began working as a team, preparing to confront Linda's schemes and protect the life they were striving to rebuild. This united front gave them both hope that they could overcome even the most daunting obstacles. While Jack was grappling with the pressure from Linda and work, Mary decided to focus on herself. She knew that to overcome her pain and rebuild her life, she needed to become stronger and more independent. Mary enrolled in new skill development courses, participated in volunteer activities, and reconnected with old friends she had neglected over the years. Mary also found a part-time job at a tutoring center for children. This gave her a sense of purpose and provided additional income to achieve financial independence. She began to feel more confident, and her life no longer revolved around Jack as it once had. Mary also prioritized self-care, going to the gym and indulging in personal hobbies she had long set aside. Jack noticed Mary's transformation and felt a mix of regret and admiration. He realized that Mary was no longer dependent on him, which only deepened his resolve to become the man she could trust and love again. Jack worked hard to improve himself, attending counseling sessions and putting in the effort to show Mary that he truly had changed. Mary's growth inspired Jack, and their parallel journeys of self-improvement became a subtle foundation for mending their fractured relationship. Both knew the road ahead was still challenging, but they were starting to see glimmers of hope for a better future. Jack not only had to confront Linda but also face himself. He realized that his mistakes had not only hurt Mary but also caused him to lose his self-respect. Jack began attending individual therapy sessions to address his internal struggles and learn how to become a stronger person. Through these sessions, Jack came to understand that his relationship with Linda wasn't solely about personal attraction but also stemmed from a desire to prove himself at work. The pressure to succeed and meet expectations had pushed him into a relationship he knew was wrong. Gradually, Jack learned to accept his mistakes and began the process of making amends and becoming a better person. Mary also joined Jack in marriage counseling sessions, although the conversations were sometimes tense and emotionally charged. Both of them found that open communication and confronting their issues helped them understand each other better. Mary saw that Jack was genuinely trying to change, which gave her a sense of reassurance. The counseling sessions became a space for healing, where Jack and Mary could rebuild trust piece by piece. It was a slow process, but both were committed to giving their relationship another chance, knowing that it required patience, effort, and mutual understanding. Linda didn't give up on Jack easily. When she realized that Jack had ended their relationship and was determined to rebuild his life with Mary, Linda became even more vindictive. She used her position to make Jack's life at work increasingly difficult, assigning him challenging tasks and blaming him whenever issues arose. Linda wanted Jack to regret leaving her. Jack found himself in a toxic work environment, but he refused to give up. He had discovered a new purpose in life: to regain Mary's love and trust. Jack decided to confront Linda and face whatever consequences might come. One day, he walked into her office, looked her straight in the eye, and told her he would no longer let her control his life. He made it clear that if she continued to harass him, he would seek legal action to protect himself. Linda was stunned by Jack's strength and determination. She hadn't expected that the man she once manipulated so easily would now stand up to her so boldly. Realizing that she had lost Jack forever and that nothing she did could change that, Linda decided to give up and redirect her energy to other projects. Jack felt a huge weight lifted from his shoulders when Linda finally left him alone. Although he knew his job at the company might no longer be secure, he felt a newfound sense of freedom and relief. The only thing that mattered to him now was rebuilding his life with Mary and making her happy once again. With Linda no longer in the picture, Jack was ready to focus entirely on healing the wounds in his marriage and proving that he could be the husband Mary deserved. Jack made a significant step forward by freeing himself from Linda's toxic influence. He decided to resign from his job at the company, fully aware that this could bring financial challenges. However, Jack knew he had no other choice. He wanted a fresh start and was willing to face any obstacles to protect his family. Jack shared his decision with Mary. Although she was a bit concerned about the uncertainties ahead, Mary felt proud of Jack for standing up for himself and their family. She understood that this was a necessary step for them to escape Linda's control and build a more peaceful life together. Jack began searching for a new job, though he knew it wouldn't be easy given the negative rumors Linda had spread about him. Despite the challenges, he refused to give up. In the meantime, Jack took on temporary jobs to support them financially. Though the work was far from ideal, Jack felt a sense of relief and freedom. He was no longer under Linda's control and could now devote his time and energy to Mary. This newfound independence brought hope to their lives. As Jack and Mary worked together to rebuild the trust and happiness they once shared, Jack knew that to win back Mary's love and trust, he needed to show sincerity and unwavering effort. One evening, he decided to organize a special dinner at home to express his remorse and commitment. Jack prepared everything himself, from the dishes to the decorations, with the hope of giving Mary a truly meaningful evening. When Mary walked into the dining room, she was deeply moved by Jack's efforts. He had prepared a lavish meal featuring her favorite dishes, and a bouquet of fresh flowers adorned the table. Jack looked at Mary with genuine eyes and said, "Mary, I know I've hurt you deeply. I can't change the past, but I want you to know that I'll do everything I can to bring happiness to you from now on." Mary listened, gazing into Jack's eyes. She saw the sincerity and regret in him. Though the pain was still there, Mary recognized that Jack was making a real effort to right his wrongs. She decided to give Jack a chance to prove that he had truly changed. The evening marked a small yet significant step toward healing, as both Jack and Mary began to rebuild their relationship with hope and mutual understanding. Mary decided to give Jack a chance to prove he had changed. They continued to live separately for a while, but they frequently met and participated in marriage counseling sessions together. These sessions helped them understand each other better and gradually began to rebuild the trust that had been lost. Jack put in his utmost effort to become a better husband. He not only spent quality time with Mary but also started participating in volunteer activities with her. Together, they visited charity centers and helped people in need, which deepened their connection in a meaningful way. Jack also worked on managing his emotions and handling work-related stress, ensuring it no longer affected his relationship with Mary. Though there were difficult moments when Mary still struggled with fears and doubts, Jack never gave up. He understood that forgiveness doesn't happen overnight. It's a long process that requires patience and perseverance. Jack was willing to face every challenge to show Mary that he had truly changed and was worthy of her love once more. With time, their shared efforts began to heal the cracks in their relationship, bringing hope for a stronger and more compassionate bond between them. After a long period of effort, Jack and Mary gradually rediscovered the connection they had lost. Their evenings spent cooking together, walks in the park, and honest conversations helped them find joy and happiness in their marriage once more. Mary felt that Jack had truly changed and had become a husband she could trust again. One day, Jack suggested taking Mary on a vacation. He wanted them to have some time to relax after the stressful and challenging months they had endured. Mary agreed, and they decided to visit a seaside retreat. It was a meaningful trip, allowing them to set aside their worries and dedicate their time to each other. At the beach, under the warm glow of the sunset, Jack held Mary's hand and said, "Thank you for giving me a chance to make things right. I know I didn't deserve it, but I'm so grateful that you stayed by my side." Mary smiled, tears streaming down her cheeks. She knew their love had endured immense challenges and emerged stronger than ever. Jack and Mary decided to start fresh, with a love that had been tested and proven through adversity. They understood that nothing was perfect, but they were ready to face any challenges together. Most importantly, they had reclaimed the love and trust they thought had been lost forever. After their meaningful vacation at the beach, Jack and Mary returned to their daily lives with a renewed mindset. Jack found a new job at a smaller company. While the salary wasn't as high as before, the absence of pressure and toxic influences from his previous position made all the difference. Jack felt freer and more at peace, allowing him to spend more quality time with Mary and focus on his own well-being. Mary continued her work at the tutoring center, feeling fulfilled by her independence. Their lives were no longer as complicated or stressful as before. Together, they learned to cherish the small but meaningful moments in life, preparing dinner together in the evenings, taking walks in the park, or simply sitting on the porch under a starry sky. These simple joys became invaluable. Jack and Mary also started participating more in community activities. They joined a volunteer group to help people in need within their neighborhood. These shared activities allowed them to realize that love wasn't just about sweet words or romantic gestures, but about companionship and working together to make life better. Through their new routines and shared efforts, Jack and Mary found deeper meaning in their relationship. They rebuilt their bond on a foundation of trust, mutual respect, and a shared purpose, making their love stronger and more enduring than ever before. Day by day, the love between Jack and Mary seemed to be reborn. They were no longer a couple chasing the glitter of success and external stability, but now understood the value of simplicity and mutual trust. Jack made an effort to truly listen to Mary, and Mary learned to share her thoughts and feelings more openly. One evening, Jack surprised Mary by taking her to a small cafe. It was the place where they had their first dates, back when their love was fresh and full of hope. Jack looked into Mary's eyes and said, "I want us to start over, just like before, but this time, I'll do better." Mary was deeply moved, understanding that Jack's mistakes had caused them both pain, but had also taught them how to love each other in a deeper, more genuine way. In the cafe's soft, warm glow, Jack and Mary shared a meaningful kiss. It wasn't just an expression of love but also a promise, a commitment to build a new life together, free from the pain and hurt of the past. This moment marked the start of a stronger and more authentic chapter in their relationship, filled with hope and a renewed sense of partnership. As time passed, Jack and Mary gradually found peace in their new life. Jack settled into his new job, where he was respected by his colleagues and free from unreasonable pressures. He had more time to care for Mary, and together they created beautiful memories each day. Mary no longer felt haunted by the pain of betrayal as she once did. She had learned to let go of the past and embrace the present with gratitude. Mary realized that while life could be difficult and far from perfect at times, those very challenges had made her and Jack stronger and more appreciative of each other. Together, they began planning for the future. They dreamed of owning a small house outside the city, where they could enjoy a peaceful environment surrounded by nature. Jack and Mary also started discussing the idea of adopting a child. They wanted to share the love and serenity they had found with a little one, and both felt ready for this new journey. Their plans reflected the strength and unity they had rebuilt, as well as their shared hope for a life filled with love, family, and a renewed sense of purpose. One late afternoon, Jack and Mary sat on the porch, watching the sunset behind the mountains. The crimson hues of the sunset painted the sky, creating a breathtakingly peaceful scene. Jack held Mary's hand, feeling the warmth of her touch, and his heart swelled with happiness. "Mary," Jack began, his voice trembling with emotion. "I don't know how to thank you for giving me a chance to make things right. I know it wasn't easy, but you did it, and I'll forever be grateful." Mary smiled, looking into Jack's eyes. "We've both made mistakes, but what matters is that we overcame them. I'm thankful for you too, for not giving up and for trying so hard. For me, for us." Jack pulled Mary close, and they embraced tightly. They knew their journey was far from over and that challenges would still lie ahead. But now, they were ready to face anything together, knowing their love had grown stronger than ever. Jack and Mary had proven that true love could conquer all difficulties, mistakes, and pain. They had found their way back to each other and, more importantly, had rediscovered trust and happiness in life. To them, that was the greatest victory. As the sun dipped below the horizon, leaving the sky in darkness, Jack and Mary remained on the porch, hand in hand, feeling the gentle breeze. They knew that no matter how life might change, their love would remain constant, a source of strength to face every obstacle and build a happy life together. Jack looked at Mary, smiling warmly. "Love conquers all, doesn't it?" Mary nodded, her eyes glistening in the fading twilight. "It does, Jack. Love conquers all." And from that moment, they lived together not in a perfect fairy tale, but in a real life, filled with challenges and trials, yet also brimming with love, forgiveness, and boundless joy.